So let's take a look at these opening hands. I mean, the recap land deck did win back-to-back European Championships, so who knows if Tempai can just replicate the same thing.
Yeah, there's fewer cards to know what they do, though. That was obviously the joke about the Ricker deck, is you could keep winning and no one would ever know what it did. But Tempai, I think everybody knows what they do. You watch them as they deal like 20,000 damage to you, which you're unable to stop.
Yeah, the difference is even though you know what they do, what can you do about it? So let's see. I mean, this is the ideal opener, of course. And yeah, we access our new favorite tool of the deck.
Yeah, here comes Olisu. It just opens up absolutely everything the deck wants to do, but Drone Lockbird is still going to be a bit of a trick for the deck to deal with. Unable to add cards from the deck to the hands. That's going to shut off cards like Mad Love, Start, Borga. Just an awful lot.
Yep. But you can add it from the graveyard, so that doesn't stop the rock from doing its thing. And yeah, we might just have pass.
Which I think is not the end of the world, because we've seen Vanquish Soul playing a lot during your opponent's turn, and with the Olisu itself, you're just able to do so much.
Oh, and we do see a preventive Fuvalos, obviously just trying to play into that Olisu later on, and it's followed by an Engraver.
Yeah, it makes sense to use the Fuvalos, because I think it's a little hopeful to think you'd get a turn after to use it anyway, so might as well use it now in case.
Sure. I guess I would have just waited for the Engraver, because then if if they draw you there.
Yes, that makes sense.
Just tiny difference, I guess, but whatever. Now we continue, and for now, obviously, Giuseppe has no idea that there are even Tempai cards in the deck.
Yeah, Fiendsmith could be anything at this point. I feel like there's almost no decks where people haven't experimented with Fiendsmith in the deck with it.
And yeah, here comes again Raisin, obviously on the same column.
Yeah, always advisable if you can to put your monsters in the same column as monsters already on the field of the Vanquish Soul player. So in this case, maybe you could put it under the rock.
Ooh, and here it's good. Yeah. I mean, he already knows about the Olisu, and now Dr. Medlove, everything is set up. How can we continue?
Is that a Vanquish Soul joke? I don't think he runs it anymore.
Fair.
Yeah, it used to be a real struggle for Vanquish Soul to keep monsters on the field.
Yeah.
So that was why you needed to run the Monster Reborn-like effect of Continue, but now they have so many more ways to summon monsters.
Oh, and there's the Ghost Bell, which Giuseppe is main decking 2 copies, and pretty good one, because let's see here, Hannes is left with 3 cards in hand, one of which is an Ash Blossom.
Yeah, Ghost Bell was something that I kind of heard being quite popular for a time. Everyone was kind of touting all the different ways you could use it. Maybe you could use it against the Mitsurugi cards, maybe you can use it against Whitebinder, but I guess probably not impactful enough to make its way into a lot of players' main decks. But you're more than happy to run it in the Vanquish Soul deck because it is an Earth attribute, so you can make use of it that way as well as make use of its hand trap effect.
Yeah, this prompted out this precious code by the Grave to just try and continue. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he has even that much left. And just like other decks that we have seen in action this weekend, I mean, Vanquish Soul is definitely not an all-in kind of strategy. You keep some resources and you can just grind. So
yeah, it was such a short first turn for Giuseppe. He just used the one search and then made a rock, but it already does just so much that you don't mind passing your turn when you've already got a pile of Vanquish Souls in hand.
And here comes the Snow Devil to clear Hannes' field. And also see the Olisu in hand being kept by Giuseppe.
And he's also going to get to summon 1, 2. Yeah. So it looks like he's hovering over a Mad Love. Going to be able to bounce a card for good measure. Struggling to see what the single card in Hannes' hand could be that will get him out of this. It's certainly not
an Ash.
An Ash Blossom.
Not quite.
Just thrown all 6 of his cards against Giuseppe, who seems to still have like a good pile left.
Yeah.
2 monsters, a rock can add back more Vanquish Souls.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not the type of deck that you want to try and 1-for-1 for, because they are so good at just turning one card into, you know, an area of plays. And yeah, I think Anis is just not picking up his cards, I guess, to enjoy his time on stream as much as possible, you know.
One advantage, I guess, of the Vanquish Soul deck, after we see a card like Fuelos, is just how little it is bothered by Fuelos, because against almost every other deck in the room, Fuelos is going to slow you down somewhat. But Vanquish Soul, you know, could summon a couple of times from the extra deck at most if you draw like Stake Your Soul and you really want to use Holy Sue. But if you're just, you can just chill. Like we saw there, he was just very chill. It's a normal summon to Razin and summon a rock, and that was it. That was all he needed to do, and it was still very powerful.
Yep. Do you reckon is one of the also friendliest deck for whoever wants to get into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for now as a entrance, I think?
It certainly is a lot of fun. You know, you don't have to do too many things. You can just use your interaction, so that does kind of make sense. You don't have to learn any long combos. It really depends on the kind of way you like to play, because I think some people would rather just learn their own combos and do those, because if you're instead planning to interrupt your opponent, then you kind of have to know what your opponent's up to, which might be tougher in a sense, even though you're not doing as much yourself. But yeah, showing off a heavy Borga here. You don't need to attack for 8,000 in one turn when you can do 3,000 extra with the heavy Borga over the course of 2.
Also here, I think Hannes just maybe wants to see how the Vanquish deck plays, if he hasn't faced any so far. But yeah, I mean, I think Giuseppe may be able to seal this one now.
Yeah, he's got so much going on.
Yeah, I mean, at least if there is a positive thing about this match for Anis is that his opponent doesn't really have all that much info about his deck. Like, he has only seen some entraps and then Fiendsmith cards, and that could be, you know, pretty much...
Could be anything, yeah.
I mean, a couple events ago, it literally would have been any deck of the format. Now, you know, not as popular, but...
It's probably not Vanquish Soul,
yeah.
But other than that... regardless of what deck it is, Magnuma is still going to cause some trouble.
Indeed, but forces out this Lacrima.
And it's still holding on till the last here. Just making sure we're not going to mess up at all. I guess just revealing a Razin, so Geolong can summon itself from the hand. I have a feeling this is more than enough damage at this point if you were just to go to the battle phase.
I think we are just going to try to wall up, but that's not really going to work.
Yeah. Just making some calculations here, but yeah. Should be enough. Yeah, game 1 goes to Giuseppe pretty smoothly, especially because I didn't really get to see Hannes deck much. As mentioned, just saw a few hand traps and bestials and the Fiendsmiths. Not sure, because now he's going second, and I mean, his opponent's deck is not really revealed. So, I mean, of course, Hannes has the, you know, advantage of deciding whether to go first or second in this specific matchup. Has a lot of different options in the side deck. And yeah, I think he also, we've seen Tempai in the past. If that was the case, if winning game 1, usually people let Tempai go first. Yeah, it's just, of course, playing against Vanquish is not easy. do you think, Tom? You'll take the risk and go second?
No, I feel like you're definitely going to go first. He's got so many powerful cards to do so. So that's my feeling. I mean, I don't know his full strategy, but he's not running cards like Lightning Storm and, you know, even things like Raigeki and Darkhold that we've seen in the past that Tenpai use in order to go second very effectively. So I think the plan is probably to go first and get some advantage off those branded. So he's running the Bestial Rebellion on branded Regain, which is a combination of cards which is just so much fun. It's so grindy. It's tough to see whether it will be grindy enough to outgrind the Vanquish Soul engine, but it is still got to be a plan A.
Absolutely, and yeah, on the other hand, I think we can expect a very light side deck from Giuseppe, probably bringing some generic going second cards, like some Mulcharmies that, you know, can be good against the Fiendsmith engine, but for that, I mean, I think he can play it just safe, rely on his engine, and then take it to game 3, where he will already have won the match or, you know what he's up against and then prepare better for game 3. So I think now the pressure is on Hannes to prove that Tenpai is still a valid deck today. So I think without further ado, our players are ready. Let's jump back into the match.
So are you a fan, Alberto, of the revamped Tenpai where you chuck in a couple of other engines and you kind of use Tenpai as a side engine, or were you more of a traditional Tenpai enjoyer where you were going second, you know, having all the Mulcharmies in the universe and all of these powerful go second Lightning Storms and things?
Usually from traditions, I have to say, yeah. Like certain things need to be as they've always been. But I like the way Hannes is playing the deck, you know, with the different you know, additions and yeah. I mean, as mentioned, Tom, you were right. I mean, Hannes is going first. I don't really see why not, especially with this type of build. And then of course he has like Tenpais for going second if that's the case, but.
But yeah, here come the first Tenpai. Giuseppe, yeah, you can look at his face, just, you know, not really sure what's going on and why, you know, Hannes is going first. But yeah, this works out pretty well. You can always set up, you know, your Attic seal going first. So.
As of course the old joke, seals pass.
But not quite, only that.
Yeah, interesting. I guess there's probably some sequencing here that needs to be figured out. As to whether it's what's the correct one to start with. I elected to start with the Tenpai, but that doesn't play into John Lockbird at all, I guess, because it just sets the card directly.
Definitely, I do agree it's an interesting sequence, but it also plays a bit more into Bestials, I feel like, not, you know.
That's true, yeah. Normally you don't see, just generally you don't like play a card until you're going to use the card, so you don't need to normal summon, show your opponent what's up.
But here we get that Fuvalos, and this hurts quite a bit, possibly. Okay, we do have the Rebellion. Well.
It's got all the starters that he could ask for of his different engines. But got to figure out how best to use them, right?
No, it's definitely, you know, all of the 3 better openers, but Fuvalos is there, so it's tough to beat it just with engine. Ooh, and we decide to just get rid of our engraver.
It's a crime against Fiendsmiths doing that, isn't it? But here we are. A very nice interaction that feels so good with Lubellion is to use it when you've already summoned a Necro-equipped Princess, because then you also get to draw a card. But in this case, I guess you don't really want to give your opponent so many cards just to get one yourself. But yeah, this regain will offer so much advantage if it goes unopposed, because you're going to get to start drawing cards every turn. You can also bring back Magnum when your opponent summons a monster, so that's going to get you even more Bestials. You're just going to have Bestials and cards for days, as long as you can keep it going longer into the duel. How many cards do you give someone when they Fuvalos you? How many cards are you happy or are you unhappy about giving your opponent?
I think when you go above 2, I'm not that happy, yeah, I guess. Yeah, 2 I'm fine with. 3, yeah, we start bothering me a bit, but it also depends a lot on what you're up against. In this case also, obviously, there is a downside of the Olisu, so you gotta be careful about that.
Yeah, Vanquish Soul, I guess, a deck that can happily use more cards that you give it, because one of the downsides, I guess, to the deck is that it needs a lot of cards.
Yep.
But on the flip side, it means if you give them lots of cards, they're going to do all of those powerful things that people are really scared of, like summon Holy Sue on the first turn.
But yeah, that was it. I think we saw an end phase, and then what happened is, in his own turn, Giuseppe activated another Fuvalos, to which we are chaining now.
That's interesting. So Giuseppe waiting to the main phase to use his Fualos, which he didn't need to do. So do you think he's trying to bait Hannes there? Because he's got a talent. I think he's laughing. I think he didn't realize that
he probably just, instinctively said, "Stand by main," those kind of situations, and then realized it. I mean,
it's definitely a good habit to get into, saying stand by main, just in case your opponent tries to do anything. But in this case, it's backfired somewhat.
I mean, now we know about the Bold Drake, which is also gonna draw us a card.
It's also very weird seeing this Tempai just on the field. He didn't even activate the field spell. It's just kind of sat there. I don't really think there's any good way for Vanquish to interact with it, but still, it just seems a little funny, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed. And okay, we're gonna normal summon Raisin. Regained. It's gonna trigger. As you've mentioned, giving access to quite some resources to Hannes and getting into interesting grind game.
Yeah, it feels so good when you resolve the Regained to get back Magnamut. So you know you're going to have even more Bystials, or I suppose you can also add a Tenpai in the end phase as well. You've got to make sure not to use Genroku to summon from the deck and give your opponent an extra draw, though, if you don't need to. Comes the army of Vanquish Souls. Bystials in Hannes' deck, I suppose he needs to run them because they're part of his engine, but they don't really seem like they do anything to Vanquish. They have a couple of Darks, but none that really end up in the grave all that quickly.
Interesting. So we're going to use the Paradise here.
This might be a little heads-up play, because it might be that Giuseppe not got 2 fires in hand yet and needs to add back the Raisin to be able to use the Geolong search.
But I think we went for the Link.
Oh, we targeted the rock anyway, okay.
So.
Yeah, ignore me.
Fair. Okay, we decide to follow through immediately. This is gonna give us a draw again, thanks to the Regained, and set up another interruption. So our resources have been once again taken aback. They're probably discussing about, shuffling deck or what's going to happen. Yep, definitely should be.
Yeah, it's nice to shortcut not shuffling every time you put something into the deck, but you always need to make sure you do it before you draw a card.
This is a precious draw. Okay, followed up by a reinforcement of the army.
He's going to have however many Rosens he's got now. At least 2.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to activate Geolong's effect as well.
Here we go. We've got all these monsters on the field. I don't really feel like they're doing all that much.
Yeah.
So they're just going to be sort of food to be steadily picked apart. Oh, is that a Ghost Ogre?
Ooh, okay. Nice.
That's an interesting one, yeah. I do agree with you, Tom, that maybe the Desiree was, could have targeted something else, but...
Yeah, because the rock's not going to do anything for a while. I mean, it's good to get it off the field eventually.
It seems like, you know, that way you're asking your opponent to just have something else, some other way to push. Let's see whether Giuseppe can figure this puzzle out. And oh, we do have stake here, so
So here comes Stakesol, gonna get a heavy borger, and that will let you draw a card. So much fun playing Vanquish Soul. You just keep drawing cards, adding cards.
Playing with attributes as well. No, I really like it. Yeah. And again, as you mentioned, Tom, I think he plays around Mulch Armies very well.
I think Perulia is more of a problem, I guess, than Fuelos.
And here Giuseppe enters battle phase just dealing with a couple of honest monsters. I feel like it's not done yet, though.
I guess Vanquish Soul must be strange because you have all these resources, but you can't necessarily always convert them. You kind of need them, but you can't always convert them into interruption. You just need them to activate some of your other effects. So it can feel a little weird sometimes when you have all these cards but can't necessarily do everything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Giuseppe just looking at his hand over and over, but I'm not sure what he's at. It's so strange to just have this 5-card hand that you just can't, can't necessarily summon any more monsters to the field.
Drawl, I'm trying to take a look at what we do know. Yeah, it's a draw and lock and a pot of extravagance. Interesting, okay.
Yeah, pot maybe was drawn off of the heavy borger. Which is a bit of a downside to it, that it doesn't work so well with the heavy borger. But the pots, I think you have to run, even if heavy borger conflicts with them a little bit. And that looks like it might be the end of the turn for Giuseppe. So Hannes more than happy to pass back and search one more dragon. Genroku, which can just summon itself straight away. So I feel like he's kind of in the driver's seat somewhat here. Here's a question though: will the players remember that Fuelos was activated? Because it was activated so long ago.
Yeah.
And Hannes did just summon from the deck, so Giuseppe should draw a card. I mean, not that he needs any more cards at this point. He's already got hundreds. I think maybe the judge is just pointing out that he forgot to draw a card in his end phase. And now it's gone back over to Hannes, and then Geelong activated and immediately hit with an Ash Blossom.
Yeah, here comes the Lacrima. I think Hannes navigated through this very well. Now it's up to Giuseppe, which is left with few monsters, and I think we may be seeing soon interruptions from his side.
One of the things about the Tempire deck is it can sometimes be very difficult to interact with, because it does everything it wants to do in the battle phase, and there's so many cards nowadays which only allow you to use them in the main phase.
Yeah, and I mean, although we mentioned that it was not used in turn 1, that Singing Summoning is still there, you know, hiding on the field, but we should not forget about it because it's going to be quite relevant coming up.
Yeah, it's just been face down this whole time. But yeah, it makes sense at some point to flip it up to protect your Tempais, if nothing else, even if you're not going to use it, because I don't really see any benefit to having it face down. Here comes Caesar Valius, able to destroy a card, but it feels like just too many cards for one Caesar Valius to take on by itself at this point.
But the good thing is, as mentioned, yeah, I mean, as mentioned, I mean, with the Vanquish Soul, it's just with one card, then you keep getting advantage and advantage, and then search, and then destroy, and then, you know, summon the Holy Sword, take control, the Raisin pops. It's, you have so many interruptions that it can get really out of hands easily.
There's just a limited number of interruptions, though, at some point. And so when you're staring down a bunch of resources from your opponent, are you going to have enough ways to stop them? So here comes some Fiendsmiths. And Giuseppe maybe got the Holy Suit and maybe got the Vanquish Soul Trap, although I think we know it is a Pot of Desires, but Hannes doesn't necessarily know that that's the case.
See, Tom, who said Tempai's matches are quick nowadays. Can still be quite grindy.
Yeah, this is kind of a new school Tempai where it's it's not the whole engine, it's just something you can use and has a little bit of synergy with the Bestials because you can search them together.
Yeah.
I feel like Hannes probably is sussed out that it might not actually be a Snow Devil face down, because it probably would have been activated by now.
About to find out, maybe. But okay, time for the Su.
And are we going to get regained again if we've not already used it this turn? So here comes, I guess, Razan has to be. I'm just wondering if he's got all of them in his in his hand at this point. Oh no, it's Borga. Okay. Interesting choice there, not to use it as an interruption, but just to summon a heavy Borga. Maybe he's searching for a particular draw off the top of his deck, but it's going to be quite tough to find it because you only get one draw. Yeah, it seems strange. He just used the Holy Sue. Just, I guess he needed to use it at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
so now comes with Desiree being on the field, and no, Giuseppe still not impressed with it.
now, will he go after the Agnum Day? Will he go after the set with the Desiree, you think? Or do you think he's sussed out? I think it's probably something you need some experience with against the Vanquish Soul to just disrespect the face downs, because I think Dust Devil is the only card.
Yep. But I agree with you that maybe, you know, the read could have been there, the would have been activated before, so.
Because it's just never a deck people are going to put Infinite Impermanence in, because it feels like you really want to play hand traps.
Oh, Scoops.
Yeah, just the trust into talent is enough. And Giuseppe is like, okay, might as well pick my cards up. I guess the Vanquish Soul can play extremely well in timeout regardless, so it wasn't probably his own concern. But 60 minutes remain still mean that, you know, you want to try and play the game out. We saw how grand he can be, and obviously now he knows that there are Tempai cards, and so it must be, you know, a concern in the back of his mind while, you know, facing the deck when he goes second. So what do you guys think he is going to bring in now that he knows what he's up against fully?
Well, you know, there's one card that was very popular in Vanquish Soul, which is there can be only one. And he's running, sure, there's a small Tempai engine, but there's also Bestials, and they're also dragons. So this is probably quite a powerful card to have at your disposal. Also looks like he's running a little thrust package, so maybe you could side in a couple of thrusts and talents and maybe a dimensional barrier to call synchros.
Sure. I mean, there can be is also annoying against, the Finsmith part of the deck. So, yeah, definitely makes sense. And, yeah, I guess Dimensional Barrier used to be extremely good against Tempai. Not so much against, Tempai and Finsmith per se, but at least you can guarantee, surviving the turn. It's quite unlikely that they can get to you through that. So I would assume that he's going to bring that Trust package in. Another extremely powerful card that is running and I'm a big fan of is that Daruma Cannon, shutting everything face down. So why not? I mean, I'm down for it. On the other hand, I think we already saw what's in store. Maybe we can add some options, but having all of those 9 Mulcharmies going second against and then facing Vanquish All is not exactly ideal.
Yeah, he's just got 5 in the deck. I'm wondering if that Phantasme is possibly an option.
Maybe.
I would say so.
Maybe, yeah.
We saw it at the playoffs for the first time yesterday, and I think it is one of those cards that is there against that deck. It's just extremely effective, you just get it there, it's a body, it protects from targeting destruction, so why not put it in there, I'd say so. So, let's see, regardless, both on the next one, Record, of course, want to keep going. Let's find out whether it's going to be Hannes or Giuseppe. Let's go to game 3.
So here we go. Vanquish Soul, definitely a deck that excels at going first. And I'm seeing a couple of hand traps, a Talons. Does he have a card to start the turn with, though? That is the question.
Passed.
And he does not.
Wow.
Oh, and passing against Tempai.
That's brutal.
Just a single Tempai monster, will.
I think he has Ash, Droll, Talent.
Maybe Talent.
Wow. And,
I mean,
is there another story with Tempai? Tale as old as time. Your opponent bricks, you just normal summon Tempai and say thank you very much.
oh, but that is set, it's not added. Yeah. Oof.
oh, yeah. And now he reveals
revealing
also to his
some
opponent,
information.
that there's
Yeah.
the draw lock, so it's...
Yeah,
That's unfortunate.
Gotta keep your eyes on those interactions.
I mean, obviously you can add it, but I mean, it doesn't not make sense to do so. So yeah, that's a precious information, though, as you can see. I'm not sure if I
Yeah.
agree with that, but sure.
I'm looking at that thinking, you've seen the draw, surely you just activate the field spell
For sure.
first.
Okay, there's the Talent, that's why.
But he knows he's got the talents.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe, I mean, but maybe he already has the Chandra. I don't
Wow,
know.
what a hand from Giuseppe.
Oof, that's
that was
rough.
very unfortunate.
I mean, wow.
Not taking the Ash. So what are the other cards in his hand?
It's just gonna pass back, and take it easy, Because surely, I mean, as you have mentioned, you see that the draw, unless you're like Sportman Yu-Gi-Oh! Player of the Year, like you surely, yeah, maybe that's it. Wow.
Like you can even just add the quick play in that plays around
yeah.
draw as
And
well,
play it.
because you just,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah,
chain
exactly.
it. But wow, I mean, I guess with Vanquish, there's very few cards that do all that
And
much by
that's
themselves.
it. Wow. Yeah. I guess. Oh, truly, it's sportsmanship. I can't find any other way to describe it. So pass back to Giuseppe, who is in need of a good top deck for sure.
I think it was Holly
Holly
Sue,
Sue,
which
yeah.
I don't think is going to do anything.
I mean, that pays off for sending back that card with Talent from Hannes. Just checking his options, but I mean, the end then is Sue, Talent, Droll, and Ash, right?
Yeah.
yeah, if you do enough things, your opponent might use a monster effect, and then you can use your talents.
Pass back.
Yeah, that's a pass back, and this game could have already been over having searched the Chandra, but we have a second chance.
Yeah, it's tough to see what Giuseppe's going to do here, because there are two cards that he desperately needs to negate, both the Tract and the Sangan Summoning.
And this does not help all that much, because now Pydra can be activated again also. Like we possibly have access to another one. We can just use Distract. Obviously we know about the draw, but it's not gonna do all that much. So it's a very rough spot, obviously, for Giuseppe. You gotta feel bad for him.
There really isn't much to do in this situation. Ash been used, just a talent. This is one of the downsides of it. It's obviously such an incredibly powerful card if it complements the rest of your hand, but I don't know. I think it's a universal Yu-Gi-Oh player experience at this point where you have the talents but no way to force your opponent to do anything, or maybe they just have an infinite impermanence only.
Indeed.
And yeah, I think here Giuseppe knows that you know, this may be enough because there's nothing else left in his hand to basically stop Hannes. And yeah, I think it will also enter battle phase.
Well, yeah, it's the classic line of the Fiendsmith deck. Oh, maybe he's got something else up his sleeve. But yeah, normally you just sequence into
there you go.
Day,
Okay.
but yeah, just a simple.
I mean, that's just good enough. And here comes the end shake. Giuseppe, yeah, couldn't find anything. And what a match that was. I mean, sometimes that's just the day the Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, gods turning their eyes around you. But I mean, it's still an amazing match, a show off of why Vanquished Soul has entered the radar, is present in the breakdown for the event, and it will definitely be represented in Top Cut, I would assume, at some in some, you know, percentage. And I mean, kudos to Giuseppe. What can you do? He showed us what the deck can do in game one. Game two was also interesting. I felt like it really wasn't one-sided at all. There were different instances in which it could have gone both ways.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Once you've had all of these chances to play your, you know, with the Vanquished Soul, you've played like 4 or 5 cards. You've still got 6 cards in hand. You have to look back on that, and there's probably one of those games where you look back and think, how could I have done things differently? Unlike maybe the third game where, you know, you probably wasn't that much choices.
Yeah, I mean, we also gotta give credit to Hannes because after losing game one, he was able, you know, to come back into this. And I also like the way he basically piloted the deck, because we were mentioning this before, how he basically changed the deck, which was going second, essentially.
Yeah.
And now mixing up with Fiendsmith and Beastials as well. I also like the side deck. I think the deck is consistent, and if you don't really understand how the deck basically changed throughout the time and you play against him, you know, you may be having troubles.
Yeah, but I mean, it is something that we have seen have some success. He took down one of the Italian Opens, which was Mario, piloting a similar version of the deck, and now it has adapted with, you know, some of the new cards, some of the new tools. And yeah, it's definitely up there. I mean, it's 5-1 after 6 rounds, so nothing to, you know, to laugh at. And now we are just down to 3 more rounds for the day to find out who will advance to day 2 and possibly have a shot at making it to the top cut. So I think it will still be a long day of Yu-Gi-Oh action. Now these are the matches that I think matter the most. Again, up until now maybe you don't feel as much pressure, but you know, now getting into that 6-7 win range is really where it matters a lot. But before we move on to that, I think we obviously want to hear it from Hannes. There will be a lot of interesting questions to be posed personally, especially about the game 3, and I'm sure we will have a lot to discuss about it. But in the meantime, let's just hear it from Hannes himself and Leo.
Thank you so much, guys. I am joined by Hannes, of course, who just won the featured match, and you're running 10-Pi Fiendsmith. Why?
I think, first of all, I don't like meta decks at all, so I don't really like to play them. And I think it's a really nice meta call, because it can go first and second. So if you play a lot of rounds, I think it's not good if you try to play a deck that's very favored to go first. So I'm trying both, and it kind of works till now, so yeah.
And do you rather go first, or do you rather go second?
I always try to go first, but I've lost every dice roll so far, so yeah, not going too well.
Then your strategy is working out, though.
I mean, I run a lot of hand traps, so just, yeah.
Okay, actually, let's look at the first clip of the match. You used Troll and Lockbird versus your opponent, which is good versus Vanquished Soul. Were you hoping for it to do more?
I was thinking about ashing the Raven, because I also have Ash in hand, but I thought draw better in case he tried to go for some more plays, but it ended up being not the best decision.
I mean, it would have stopped Vanquish Soul from accessing the trap card, but as we can see here, they had it hard drawn. Would you have played differently if you knew that there was a Snow Devil set?
Yeah.
What would your play have been if you knew that there was Snow Devil?
I mean, he hard drew the Snow Devil, so I was like, I was like unsure what the set card was. I was thinking Imper maybe, or maybe just Bait with an extravagance that he did in the second game. But when I saw this, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I cannot win this from this point onward because I just have Ash Blossom in my hand, and it's it's just lost from this point on.
Yeah, you had no access to Tenpai cards. Do you have a way to bridge with your Fiendsmith cards into Tenpai?
No, unfortunately not. But the engines just function very well together because the Fiendsmith is just so grindy, and you just win turn, you survive turn after turn, and if you draw your Tenpai card, it's just it's just whatever.
So you're just waiting and chilling.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't summoned Trident once this tournament, so haven't needed it yet, but I have it.
I mean, it's going well for you so far.
Yeah.
Let's actually go into game 2 and check out what we have there. There you went for your, that circle is not supposed to be there anymore. But what is your usual Enfield? You got Fuva lost. What is your plan then?
So my deck is pretty weak against Fuva. I accepted that when going into the tournament. But you can give the enemy one draw if you cannot draw yourself or something. And then you still have the Requiem, and then the Lacrima is on the board anyways, and the Paradise potentially, and they just have to kill you eventually. So the Lacrima lands in the graveyard, so she can bring back the Requiem anyways. So it's like just really nice recursion for the downside of giving them one draw. But that's like usually fine.
Why did you leave the field spell face down the entire time? I was afraid that you would forget it.
Yeah, I was because I didn't want to play into the seals anyways, because I didn't want to give him more draws. So I just left the field spell there, and I'm like, I have the field spell here, so just so you know that. Yeah.
So you were trying to set up the Branded Regain there, and you banished the Engraver.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah. It was unfortunately. The thing is, the Bestial grind game with the Regained is much better than the Fiendmouth grind game in the short term, so I had to do it.
Yeah.
Even though the Bestials are not that great into Vanquish Soul, but it's okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then something happened that shocked me when you were playing around Fuolos so well. You linked off the Lurry, and you actually, versus Fuolos, went into Requiem just to summon out the Baldrake. Wait, have you used Baldrake often as an interruption on the opposing turn so far?
I could use Baldrake as a disruption. Do you mean for the Rocks of the Vanquisher or what?
Just against any other deck. Was it like a major part of your field?
I added the Baldrake, and I mean, if Rocks is gone, that's a good thing for me. And I can keep the Paradise for something else potentially. But yeah. The thing is, I had to summon the Requiem here and give him one draw just to get the follow-up done in the following turns. And then, I mean, he did Fuva, and then I just chained the Requiem.
How many heavy grind games have you played in this tournament so far?
Just 2 so far. But those were like really, really nice. I lost the other one, but it's okay. It feels really nice to grind with this game, with this deck, I mean.
And then, I mean, speaking of grind game, let's go into game 3. That was a massive grind game, am I right? We saw a Droland Lockbird that was basically dropped onto the field after you...
So I saw the draw before, and I wasn't sure like what his other cards in the hand are. And I was like, my decision was, okay, maybe I'm just adding a Chundra or something. But if he had Ash, then it's doomed anyways. But in hindsight, I should have just activated the field spell and see if that got me a play somehow. But he had the Ash anyway, so but that was a mistake on my part. I should have activated the field spell first. But the thing is, with this deck, you just can create a lot of pressure by just leaving the field spell up and just adding Tract for following turn. So the enemy knows they have to do something, or they're dead next turn.
But I want to ask you one more question.
Yes, sure.
So it's a bit of a bad question.
Yes.
When you didn't add the Chandra there, and you didn't go for the OTK in this game, are you a real Tenpai player if you're just not trying to go for a game?
As you can clearly see, I'm not a Tenpai player. I just picked the deck up like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a friend was like, maybe this is a better call than what you're doing right now. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try it.
What was your deck before that?
I don't want to talk about it really.
Okay.
It's really cringe, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay, let's not talk about your
Yeah, let's not
cringe
talk
deck
about
choices
it.
anymore. Thank you so much. The tournament is going really well for you. Looking very much forward to seeing you maybe in day 2, maybe in the top cut. Congratulations and thank you for your time, Hannes. And we are going back to a break.